Hello, how are you, dearest Joey Moof? Now I checked the audio, so I know it's already loud, crisp, crystal clear. Ain't no chat gonna rug me today, okay? I'll tell you what, Dave. Man, there are so many people who just are obsessed. Thank you, Joey. Obsessed with dead coins, like Zcash. What up, Fire Ferris? I'm gonna stay off video today because I look like death. I don't want today's picture to get fed into AI when the AI takes over. I don't want my image today to train the model. You know what I'm saying? Bull market has been hard on us. On me, maybe. Yep, Dave, Monero is a thing indeed. All right, let's take it off. Take it off this. I'm not showing anything we shouldn't be showing. I guess we can start with the ETF stuff. I don't know. What do you guys want to talk about today? I'm just kind of ambivalent until the GBTC stuff slows down, which it has. Admittedly, it has. The biggest thing is going to be price. Okay, here's the list, right? Price, EOD, USD flows, and then on-chain flows. By the time you see it on-chain, ladies and gentlemen of the jury, it's already done. It's a done deal, okay? That includes ETH being sent to FalconX from Celsius. By the time it's on the chain, it's already been dealt with, okay? Very rarely, very rarely do you send stuff first and then sell it. It's usually pre-settled in some manner. Especially with FalconX, who I've dealt with personally, I know that they pre-settle everything. So by the time it gets sent to FalconX as a custodial, or not a custodial, OTC provider, they handle a ton of, I think it's like 30% of the OTC volume. By the time they touch it, it's already been sold or it's already been bought on an exchange. So please don't get wrapped up into, oh man, I've seen it for like a week straight. Grayscale has sent thousands of coins to Coinbase this morning. Yeah. That statement in and of itself is funny because the coins are already sitting on Coinbase. They're just moving it between custodial wallets and like a hotter wallet. Anyway, whatever. It doesn't matter. What's up, Jack? Give Crypto Jack a follow on Twitch, on Twitter. He does great, great stuff. One of the few people alongside myself that said getting past 48 is going to be tough. Look, I gave it an option. I said it's possible, right? It's possible. We've never seen it. This would be the first time. Lo and behold, what do you know? Couldn't make it. Couldn't quite make it. The other thing about the sell the news crowd, all these people taking victory laps on sell the news, they're right for the wrong reasons. It's not selling the news. It's selling off because Grayscale unlocked hundreds of thousands of BTC and decided to play suicide with the fees. And this is a cash settled instead of in-kind ETF. So it's kind of like death by a thousand cuts a little bit on the spot side of things. Just nothing really helping us in that regard. Obviously, having the others absorb a percentage of the outflows of GBTC has been huge. Without that, we just would have went straight down, right? So at the very least, it's been mostly bad for the unlock purpose. It was always eventually going to be bad. This is why whales are bad. This is why sending your coins to Celsius, BlockFi, Voyager, Nexo, who's somehow still alive. Any of these places, it's just really bad. You can measure it as Gini coefficient, which is like distribution of coins. I think there's also the, what do they call it? The Nakamoto coefficient on Masari. They measure this. Anyway, coin concentration is never a good thing. It's the same thing with Sailor. And guess what? In 2026, you know what we're going to be talking about in the bear market of 2026 are the constant outflows from the ETFs, okay? So this is a two-way street. Something else I was thinking about price-wise is as negative as this has been on the downside, you know, when we actually do turn a corner, the ETF flows, when they see massive net inflows, I mean, the effect of price, the effect of that on price should be enormous, okay? So I'm still incredibly bullish down the line. It's just, what do you do in the near term? In the near term, I think you just DCA and walk away. I mean, there's nothing really to do. You could have shorted this. I think the best short would have been, I mean, not 48, obviously, right? But you could have shorted this at 41.7, okay? That was when, this is the alligator fractal. The alligator is just 3 moving averages. When we broke 41.7, that was the support fractal. And the moving averages were bearish, so it told you it's okay to be bearish here. And that was really the best opportunity based on technicals on the daily to short. You got another signal at 40.3 to add to that short. So currently it's only been shorts, right? We've only continuously said, based on losing support fractals, we're going to go down. Now, another way you could measure this, Carvana, by the way, looks great still. Another way you can measure this is just taking the depth of the zone and measuring it down. You know, you can be as conservative or aggressive as you want on that. In either case, we're getting closer, right? We're getting closer, but if you just say, look, here's the range, you know, and I know the White Coffee and Crypto Jack people have talked about this. You just say, look, here's the range. We probably go lower. This is the measured move. I think it's going to take a lot to get us to 33. I'm not going to rule that out, but at the moment, the narrative is dominated by outflows. If the outflows slow down or stop and we are still going down, then the narrative is going to shift to what's going on now, right? Lack of inflows. There's still obviously, you know, in the near term, it leans heavily bearish. The reason I feel like I don't have an edge enough to short this is because if we all of a sudden turn around because we don't have outflows anymore, then what do? You know, like I said a couple of videos ago, you could have just shorted this saying, I'm not going to let go of my short until the outflows are done. That's fine. That seems logical. So I do think this has a little bit to go in it still. And obviously, if we take a look at the daily cloud wants this much lower still. The TK cross hasn't even flipped bearish yet. So none of this is telling you to be long right now. Absolutely nothing. And I hope for most people that's obvious. The path of least resistance is definitely down. To be fair, on the daily, it's neutral in the cloud. But with the supply shock, effectively, you know, that's not helping things. You know, we can look at other supports to the downside. as well. You've got your 200-day down here. You've got your 20-week down here. And you've got the 200-week. I think that's a little bit long in the tooth. That would be the ultimate bear case. The ultimate capo is right, bear case. I think his target's like 10K. I think the ultimate level to the downside would be 30. And the problem with getting lower than that is that really gets ugly, because then we start to see outflows of the ETFs probably, right? I mean, that's another, 30% or something? 20%? Okay, it's another 20% down. That would be ugly. So we don't want that. I don't personally mind going below the cloud. It's just, if we are able to hang out at the cloud, that's easiest to repair. If I can find, we've done this twice in the past year, where we tried to break down and just couldn't. And then I was looking at something the other day. Was it miners selling? I think it was miners. I don't think that was the narrative at the time, but the miner selling really pushed us down here, I think. There was also the 2x ETF launch for Bitcoin. Anyway, so I think down is where we're headed, or sideways. I don't think up in the very nearest of term makes a lot of sense. I think that's obvious to everybody, and I think that's why it's even easier to go down. Everybody's obsessed with flows. Does anybody not know what's going on right now at this point, right? Somebody asked if this could be priced in. Are the outflows priced in? I think knowing what's going on is priced in, and people are cautious here. But because nobody knows the end extent of the flows, as far as where's this going to go, other than zero, draining GBTC to zero is an option, but that's going to take some time. So no, I don't think it's priced in, because nobody knows how much is left, right? FTX is out, which is good. We sort of suspected that was the case. They had sued Alameda had sued Grayscale because they wanted to get out at par. They didn't want to pay the fees. So it only made sense that eventually they were going to get out anyway. I also think DCG is selling. If you pull up the James Seifert tweet, he recently pulled this up on Bloomberg. It was the top holders of GBTC. I think Grayscale, as of a couple days ago, had like 1.7 billion reported. Here it is, right? Yeah. So they had, 1.27 billion. That was as of the end of 2022. Is that right? So what was that at the end of 2023? Hold on, let's figure this out, because that's way bigger than even I thought it was. We'll just conservatively say 36 million shares times, we'll say 42. All right, so 1.5 billion conservatively. So 1 billion is FTX. 1.5 is Grayscale. Let's assume both of those have completely sold everything. It doesn't account for the other half of the flows, right? Because there's been about 4.3. We'll say there's been 4.5 outflows. 2.5 has been FTX and Grayscale-ish, probably. Anyway, so yeah, Barry is dumping on us. I don't doubt that. They again need the money. They got bills to pay. Anyway. But it's good to get those people out of the system. Okay? This is toxic stuff. Just get them out. Golshi, I agree. I would rather sit and do nothing here than be short. Just because, again, like the technicals are, leaning bearish through the cloud. That's fair. I don't think it's a terrible idea. I would just wake up every day asking myself, okay, is today the day that we're going to see zero outflows from Grayscale? I don't think we're ever going to see zero. I think it's going to just get significantly smaller. But it's going to take some time, for sure. Yeah, right, Jack. So, like I said, it's death by 1,000 cuts, right? Cash versus in kind. The fee, the highest amongst the group. The fact that this thing was locked at a discount for 5 years or whatever. It's all part of the process. And then we've got, so upcoming, we've got Gox coins, which we can look at, right? Like this is not like unknowable information. Again, let me pull up a place where I can find this. So let's lay it all on the table, right? We got Gox coins to the tune of 162,000 Bitcoin. Okay. Let's ask ourselves, do we think all those coins are going to get claimed? I don't think so. I think a large percentage of those are going to get claimed. And it's safe to assume that they're going to be sold. I'd rather, what is it? Over promise, under deliver, whatever that saying is. I'd rather assume the worst and be pleasantly surprised when they don't dump everything. I guess it's 138, my bad. 138,000 BTC. Let them dump all the BCH, who cares? 138,000 BTC. So yeah, that's a decent amount. That's basically the equivalent of what we've seen out of Grayscale, right? It's going to have an effect on price, undoubtedly. So you have to keep that in mind. For the long side, if you're looking to, get back in or whatever at some point, we don't know when that's going to be dispersed. We don't know to who. We don't know if it's going to trickle out. Like, none of those questions are known, but it's coming. It's probably coming by Q2, I'd imagine, partially. And now we've got U.S. government auctioning off portions of their billions in notional. I saw today 130 million. They want to auction off, and that's fine. Like, look, we're pre-halving, let it happen. Who cares? Just let this drag down to 35, 34, whatever. I just wouldn't want to be on the long side. That's the only thing. So the daily's already telling you, now's not the time. Okay. Now the weekly, right? I talked about this somewhere, but the question I always get is, I traded this to the long side through the cloud. Do I take the opposite trade down? You could. I don't think it's smart, but you could. I think that's it's an interesting game to play. You can't say like for certain that that's not going to play out. If we turn on weekly fractals, we haven't even made a weekly support fractal yet. The weekly cloud's going to take some time to flip bullish again. I just think you got to be patient, But yeah, could you imagine 26? Back down to the week. Let's do it again. Let's take two. Let's do it all the way down to the bottom to 26. I'll catch up with chat in a second. You'd have to like look at this. It's hard to really say what the performance historically on a weekly move back down like that. Like, you don't really get to the bottom, on these weekly clouds. Even in 2016, right? You never came back down. Now, I think the weekly key June is a reasonable spot, but that's also basically the daily cloud, right? That's 30, 33, 32.6, whatever that is. So yeah, you just gotta, if you're on the long side, if you're a long only person, be patient. Go trade Legacy. Legacy's popping off right now. If you're an alt trader, I'll pray for you because there's not much going on there right now. I would do something else. Plenty of stuff to trade on the Legacy side, and really all the more reason to have more money on Legacy exchanges, because then that gives you the optionality. If you're a trader's trader and you're looking for setups and you don't really care about, forcing some trade on some altcoin that isn't really there, you're better off just trading some like triple leveraged ETF on whatever than forcing some alt trade. So that's BTC. I mean, we can go down to like the 8 hour. The soonest I'd want to take a long trade would be if we're back above the 8 hour, which we're nowhere near that, right? So the first step is price. If price isn't getting shoved lower every day, which today, hey, look, this is pretty good. We're hugging 40. We're trying to stay there. That's step one. You can always check Coinbase. Now, Coinbase has been where the action has happened. We can go all the way down to the 1 minute. What does the volume look like? Right? The other day, look at this. The other day you have this crazy end of day volume, right? It's like this settlement end of day mad dash. We'll probably see something like that again today, but there's still a ton of volume that it's kind of started. So 9:30 is US Open, right? It kind of starts 2 hours before open. At least that's what it seems like it's been doing. That's when a lot of the pre-settlement for GBTC seems to have happened in price. Yeah, we can look at every day and say like, okay, what's happening at 7:30 a.m. or whatever EST? It's mostly been down. That's not a secret. So if we start to see price hold sideways, that's a great sign. If we start to see volumes calm down on Coinbase, that's a great sign. The other thing a lot of people have been watching, I'll just take a screenshot. If you've got all these volumes, I know they're not one-to-one as far as Bitcoin per share, but if Fidelity and IBIT start to creep up here in daily volume, then it's over for GBTC, because that likely means that the flows for GBTC out of that product have slowed down significantly, or the inflows for BlackRock and Fidelity have taken over. Not exactly science, not exactly one-to-one, but something else to watch for. Again, the on-chain flows are the very last thing to care about, okay? You're going to get that data 2 days later anyway. It doesn't matter. It's already been done. The damage is done. So it's really not even worth paying attention to the flows at this point, other than watching to see how much Grayscale has left to sell, which is significant, okay? So that's not a secret. I've been watching the BTC flows through this account, Capital 15C. Grayscale down to approximately 513,000. So the more this gets drained, the less of a percentage they'll matter on the market. And that's good for everybody. Anyway, I can only say that so many times. Eventually, they're just not going to matter. They're just going to fade into irrelevancy. It's just going to take a little time. That's all. So that's Bitcoin. And, Bitcoin has really pulled everything else down with it, obviously, on the alt side. And can we just pour one out for ETH BTC real quick? Because man, people were really, really, really excited about that. They were so excited. They thought this was it, baby. That ETF, it was gonna really, really bring them up, bring them home, make all that staking pain worth it. And nope, Celsius says, oh, by the way, we got $1 billion to sell, or thereabouts. You know, again, who knows what these final numbers are? Does it really matter? Does it really matter? Like, clearly, you're seeing it in price, right? So it doesn't really matter. Just let it happen. Go do something else. All right, let me catch up on chat for a second. If you've got any questions or want to see anything specifically, just let me know. And you know, we can look at flows. I've got data on that. It doesn't really matter. Again, look, all that matters is the outflows from Grayscale, because the inflows are going to take over. That's why I don't care about those numbers. At the end of the day, we will win. It is over. We have infected Wall Street. They don't know it yet, but they are a carrier of the Bitcoin virus. Joey, I'm doing better. Cold is doing better. It was COVID, by the way, in case anybody cares. The worst sore throat, literally, of my life. Not fun. Do not recommend. But definitely on the better side of that. Yeah, we'll take. It's funny. I stick my neck out, talk about Filecoin. now I'm the bad guy. For alts in general, the other strategy I would deploy would be patience. If you like something, sure, but I would check it against Bitcoin, check it against ETH, see how it looks. Keep in mind, alts do best post Bitcoin. Having this like pre-bonk mania show we had, where bonk did insanely well, is not something you expect to continue. And firing from the hip here, what do you think this chart's going to do? Do you think this is a bullish continuation chart? You tell me. I'm going to go with no. I'm going to go with, this probably leans bearish, but I'm not going to tell anybody how to trade their book. Daily Cloud does not like that at all. Bonk looks not great. All right, let me keep reading here. The AI takes over. Well, that's the thing, Joey. When the AI kills me, it takes over. I want to be remembered in a healthy form, right? GBTC flows. Yeah, I mean, they're... so the other place I get the information from would be BitMEX Research. They've been doing a great job at the end of the day. It's really like 8 p.m. EST when they have that data. They have been posting it. I mean, you really need a Bloomberg terminal to see this quickly, or you just wait for somebody to post this stuff. But you can see we peaked at 640 million USD, and we're continuing to go slightly lower. I don't really care about the net outflows. Again, the only thing that really matters is the outflows for Grayscale, because the inflows are going to take care of themselves over time. I think the winners are going to clearly be BlackRock and Fidelity. Bitwise has done extraordinarily well. ARK is being propped up by Kathy and the other ETF that somehow is legally buying. I don't know how that works. ARKK or whatever is loading up on ARKB. Invesco, kind of a sleeper. They're doing quite well as well. But then I think these other four eventually are going to get tossed to the wayside and be absorbed by the other ETFs. But yeah, GBTC outflows slowing, definitely. And just based on price today, probably even lower. You know, I'd suspect like 375 million out today or something, just based on how price is reacting. So we're getting there. We're definitely getting there. Focus on the cycle, says Joey. I agree. It's so early still. It is so early. We're nowhere near having yet. Okay, so just take a breather. And if you're wondering, were people talking about having like they are now in the previous two halvings? I'm here to tell you they were, and we can look at those time periods, and I can tell you, I think most of us in the chat were here for 2020, which feels like yesterday. Maybe not. Maybe I'm underestimating the amount of new people, but at that time, I don't think even, having wasn't really being talked about because COVID was such a big deal. You guys can correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't remember the having talk until way after having. And then in 2016, it was kind of the same deal. If we go to the daily, right, we always have some garbage moved lower. This was also below the cloud. This, we just had a crazy run after 200 days, 250 days of nothing. Sold off a bunch, consolidated, and then we got the Bitfinex hack. And that's what tipped the scale here. Arguably, it was already, not exactly looking like bullish continuation. But we had the Bitfinex hack, and then the rest is history. But everybody was talking about having. Are you kidding me? That's all we had. We sat sideways for almost 300 days. Everybody was talking about having and the short squeeze until the short squeeze happened. So yeah, at least anybody in Bitcoin at that time, all 5 of us, were talking about the halving. So that is definitely normal to be focused on that. All right, let me keep reading. Most bearish statement of 2024. By the time you see the on-chain, it's already happened. Yeah, it's already done. It's already settled. It's already taken care of. I must admit, instead of Sundays and Macro Mondays, depth, blah, 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 saying, oh, thanks, Fire, Victor. No wedding, Matt. Just the honeymoon. We eloped. We're going to get married soon. Not now. Aren't the GBTC holders selling the news? I mean, fricker, I guess they are. They did sell the news. They finally were able to sell. I don't think GBTC lowers their fees because I don't think they care. I don't even think they care about the outflows at this point, because if you draw up some matrix or table of like, fees at X level relative to flows, they're still making, X amount of money, percentage slightly less. Like, does it really matter to them? No, I don't think it does. The true question is how much more is left. Nobody knows that answer. Is it another 10%? Maybe. Is it another 50%? Probably not in the near term. Bruce asks, how do I learn about the token unlock schedule? If you go to DeFi Llama, they have the best list of stuff. Just the best info generally. If you go to, where is it at? Unlocks. They won't have everything here, but you'll get some idea. If you're looking for some token, you want to look up like Solana or something, there will be probably some data on whatever coin you're looking for. So DeFi Llama is definitely the place to go for that. Why doesn't GBTC lower their fees? Again, I think they owe a lot of people a lot of money, and they just don't care. What do I think the market top for Link will be this cycle? I'll talk about Link in a second. I'll get there. Regardless of the narrative, still sell the news, massive bear div. Give you the, yeah, okay. So, I mean, I'm right there with you. The technicals to me looked not so hot coming into the ETF, right? You had a very clear as day bear div here. And this kept me out of trouble, okay? Was I buying at like 45? Yeah, but I wasn't buying at 48. Was I letting my stuff go at, what is this, on the 12th? Heck yeah, I was. That was it. Party's over. So yeah, the div really, what was going on with the ETFs, as well as that 618 fib target. I mean, that was the obvious level anyway. Can I check the monthly cloud for BTC? Yeah. It's going to take some time, but it looks real good, even on doubled. If we look at the monthly cloud, we're above the cloud. We don't have a bullish TK cross yet. We don't have a bullish cloud yet. That'll come in time. Even if we stay like in the 30s, we're going to eventually flip this sucker bullish. If you look at the singled cloud is also getting there. So that looks good. I mean, if anything, this weekly, or sorry, monthly candle, not looking so hot. You know, this tells me kind of like, I think I've said in various places, it's probably going to take 4 to 6 months to repair the ETF stuff, right? So you definitely have to be patient with anything in the near term. If we look at the default cloud on Bitcoin here, default cloud also looks ready to rip. You know, just it's going to take time. It's going to take, by Q2, we will know. There will be no doubt about it what we look like by Q2. Again, with the GBTC fees, like the damage has been done. Like we talked about, FTX is $1 billion out. Grayscale itself is potentially $1.5 billion out. You know, the rest of it is who cares at this point. The rest of it is you and me and retail trading the discount. I think they're just banking on people not paying attention. Just still reading chat here. Thanks for stopping by. Give me a like or whatever. Whatever you want to do. Josh is my hero, says Ken Plan. Thanks, Ken. I appreciate it. Would it be worth looking at previous drawdowns pre-halving as a percentage? Yeah, you know, Ben Cowan has the best data on that just because he has that ready to go. I mean, look, like, again, where does this really matter? If we're above 30 before halving, great. If we are getting ready for a bullish Kumo breakout into halving, great. You know, again, if we roll back the clock to 2020, we kind of lethargically repaired ourselves from the COVID candle. Didn't really do much of anything. And then in this little tiny TK cross that no one believed in, that kind of looks like a swastika every time I look at it. Right here. I was on Twitter. I said, hey, this is a bullish TK cross, the price above cloud. This is the most bullish signal. And, you know, the rest is history. It's not about predicting the bull run. It's just saying this is a great time to be long. So this is the type of thing, even on alts especially, not there yet. You know, alts right now are basically here. They're in the cloud. They're angry. They need consolidation. Something else that was important in 2020 was we held in the cloud. We never broke down, right? So it's definitely something to watch for into April. It wouldn't be terrible if we went underneath the cloud, but if like 2023 where we held above the cloud a couple times, right? That's a really good sign. The difference between now and 2023, I don't see, we had this pattern stuff over and over again. We had the megaphone, we had the falling wedge, we had a head and shoulders here. I don't really see anything up here. It just kind of looks like junk. I don't know. I haven't talked about DXY yet. We'll do that. All right, I think I'm caught up. My favorite thing to hear is halving is already priced in. Yeah, guys, everything's priced in. Gox coins priced in. Halving priced in. ETFs, they're priced in forever. This is it. You're looking at it. Yeah, GOSP. Like I said, the Seldo news people were right for the wrong reasons. If GBTC wasn't a factor, we probably would have held at 45. It kind of would have been a nothing burger. We would have sold off a little bit, but not as much as we did. Some of this is minor selling. I don't have a great chart on that, but I guess if you go to if you go to Crypto Quant, I have to find the bookmark. Glassnode has it, but I don't have a Glassnode account anymore. Anyway, if you look at the minor selling lately, it's definitely not been super helpful as far as price going up, right? Let me just find this. So if we go, this is all miners. It's subtle, but it's an uptick in selling. It's just one more thing, right? And I know that's hard to see on the stream, but we did see an uptick in selling at the top. We still saw an uptick in selling near the top, and then we have seen an uptick in selling as we've gone down. This is all miners, all exchanges. Interestingly, if you try to figure out who this is, I think it might be Mara. They have most of the miners labeled here. They don't have Mara labeled. And then they have this other pile. So I think it's Mara, but I don't know for sure. Anyways, that's not helping right now either, obviously. Yeah, Jack, there's been a lot of talk. Here comes the flashbang, so get ready for that. There's been a lot of talk of value days destroyed, coin days destroyed. The thing you got to keep in mind with all of the on-chain data, like people have noticed, you are getting a ton of flows on-chain right now. So that's going to show up super hot on all these on-chain metrics, It's not that the metrics are wrong, but that's why the metrics are showing what they're showing. So value days destroyed takes coin days destroyed, which is a way to measure coin movements. If you hold one coin for 100 days, that's 100 days stored up. If you destroy those days by moving the coin, okay, that's what counts as a movement. Generally, you don't move coins unless you are selling them. Generally. If you want to mess with coin metrics or on-chain data, just constantly move your coins every day. Just eat the fees. Most people don't do that, right? This is one of the reasons why on-chain data for Bitcoin is so valuable, because there are fees, and to just spam with transactions doesn't make a lot of sense. If you look at something like EOS or some other chain, right, you're going to see millions of transactions. It's going to be less valuable as a signal. Anyway, so value days destroyed is coin days destroyed times price and then they adjust it slightly to give a clearer signal. So yeah, VDD has spiked up a lot because you're seeing, millions of notional coin value moving on chain from coins that have been locked for 5 years. So you're going to see that spike here. It's correct, right? It's what you'd expect to happen when an event like that happens makes sense, right? So I don't want to discount that, but you just got to keep in mind why that's happening. And we don't really know like what percentage of VDD is grayscale coins versus others. You'd have to dig deeper into that a little further. But yes, they have spiked up a little bit. We can look at MVRV. That's come down quite a bit, which is good. MVRV looks at market cap versus realized cap. Realized cap is the average price for all the coins on chain that they've last moved. The differential there basically tells you the unrealized profit. So when the unrealized profit gets insane, everybody has a number. And this metric is just saying, look, collectively, the chain hits everybody's number. And that becomes too much to overcome from a unrealized profit perspective. People are happy to sit in continuous profit, but the moment that turns against them, they're more likely to sell. And then we can measure that from cycle to cycle, and that's what you're seeing here. So we're sort of resetting that a little bit, which is good. In a pre-halving year, again, this is normal. This was 2016. This was pre-2020, and we didn't even get to that MVRV level this cycle. So again, we're on track for what you'd expect. Nothing too crazy here. The last thing I'll look at is the, what do they call it? Realized cap hodl waves. Kind of a similar metric. These are all just different ways to look at coin age, coins in profit, how much are they in profit. When we reach certain prices, we see a lot of profit taking. We haven't really seen too much profit taking here. This is just coin age colored. So older coins that haven't moved in a while are blue. Coins that are moving in the near term are hot, they're red. And during peak mania, we see a ton of on-chain coins changing hands, right? People are sending to exchanges, they're selling. We didn't really see any of that. Well, I mean, we saw a little bit of it, but not to the extent that you'd see during peak bubblicious mania, right? So all this makes sense. Again, we're pre-halving. We can look at, if you want to look at, what's his name? I'm drawing a massive blank on the actual thing. Stock to flow, right? Let's just go all the way. Let's go all the way to stock to flow. Stock to flow, I think it's nonsense, to be fair. It's a model, whatever, you can love it or hate it. We are almost back on track with stock to flow. How wild is that? I like this specific graph just because it colors the days until halving. The next thing people are going to be talking about is halving, okay? And then after that, the next thing people are going to be talking about is, why isn't price moving? Halving just happened. So one thing to know with halving is we don't really see price take off until like 2-3 months after halving. So again, we're not even at the halving yet. So you guys, not you guys collectively, but people in general, you just got to be patient. This stuff takes time. We're still absorbing the supply shock. So it's going to take a minute. It's going to take a minute. Let price be angry and garbage and whatever else. But we're on track. Makes sense. To me, anyway. I don't know. I'm not worried about any of this stuff. 2-year moving average multiplier, we look great. High end is at 142. That's going to keep moving up. One other one would be Puel. If you guys would stop trading ordinals, miners wouldn't be selling so much. Keep that in mind. Puel is basically how fat and happy are the miners. If the miners are super fat and happy, they're probably selling a lot of coins. And we're not quite seeing that at this level, but Puel multiple did pop up quite a bit. And that will get crushed during halving. You can see that somewhere in here. It's hard to see. Here's where halving was in 2016. So that's going to come down quite a bit after this halving. Rainbow chart. I think I keep getting emails from Look Into Bitcoin saying we've entered fire sale territory, which we have. We're at the bottom of the rainbow still. So we got time. We got time on top of time. Okay, just keep that in mind. There's no rush here. Everything looks great. I wouldn't be upset about the GBTC stuff. There's always something. The most important part is that we've got ETFs that are online, that are increasingly getting connected to more and more potential buyers. That's it. That's the story. Dangles, you did not miss the leaf blowing. Luckily, that's over for now. Luckily, that's over. All right, that's enough of looking at Bitcoin. Yeah, I don't know. There's not much to do here. So yeah, you could short. You could watch the lower time frame stuff. I don't know. I would get nervous that we're holding at 40. That GBTC outflows are relaxing. Now, if they grind to a halt, I don't think that's a long trade either. I think again that you get. Look, you get one trade a quarter. You had your trade for last quarter. I don't think, honestly, there's going to be a great trade here until April. I honestly don't think you're going to see anything till April. We'll watch this every week. If there is a trade, we'll take that trade. But I don't think there's a trade here. Not for a good long while. And ETH, is there anything more cursed than ETH? Look at this chart. Look at this chart. It barely broke out, okay? Couldn't hold on to its high for 5 seconds. This was its time. I was told, ETH ETF, I was told this is when the rotation's going to happen. I don't know. Okay, this is Celsius. Yeah, sure. But doesn't look so hot. Doesn't look so hot. Just another reason why even if you trade alts, you got to pay attention to Bitcoin. You have to have an opinion. So on trend, this should roll over and flip neutral. Downside, I don't know, 19. Like, again, the downside here is limited at this point. Is there a trade? I don't think so. I just don't think there's nothing to do here with ETH. There really isn't. It needs a narrative. It needs something. I don't think the ETF is that narrative. I don't know what it's going to take. But again, you got to keep in mind, ETH is an alt, and ETH does best after halving. ETH also does best after rates come down, which I haven't mentioned yet, but rates should be starting to come down by mid-year, along with Bitcoin halving. And all that stuff is super helpful for anything that's not named Bitcoin, unfortunately. So there's a time to trade and a time to go fishing, and it's not time to trade ETH right now. I think that's obvious to most people, has been for a while. Yeah, that's the other thing, GC. When ETH gets the ETF, I think they will. I think it's inevitable. But when they do, Grayscale's got ETH to sell, just like they had GBTC to sell, right? Again, nobody knows how much of what they're holding. The discount on ETH is down today to 15, 14. We can look at that chart as well. There's you know, what do you do? It's in the middle of the weekly cloud. What an awkward spot to do anything. I think if it comes down to 14, then maybe there's a trade there. It's just tough because the discount has closed considerably. So that part of the trade is kind of done for now. And the technical part of the trade, you know, it didn't quite hit the target yet. It's just not, it's a very awkward spot. I just think there's better stuff to trade. GBTC, by the way, still looks okay price-wise, which is kind of crazy. Still above the weekly cloud. This is going to get a weekly flip on the cloud. It already has on the traditional settings. This looks great. If it wasn't GBTC, right? It doesn't even look that bad on the daily cloud. So that would really be something if we see continuation here before spot. I don't think we will, but the chart doesn't look terrible. Yeah, Chris, look, we can get an ETF for every coin. We can get 1,000 ETFs, buddy. This isn't directed towards you, but this is just everybody. This is my frustration. The first step is getting the ETF. The second step is getting people to buy it. If an issuer applies for an ETF, they're expecting to sell that to somebody. So if Grayscale has, if BlackRock has a ETH ETF, they're probably expecting at least $1 billion in flows, okay? Which is probably low for them. It's just, would you want to sell ETH to people? Would you want to sell Zcash to people? No, I don't think anybody would want to buy that. The story there is very tough. That's a very tough sell. I'm all for having these products and having them be available. Nothing wrong with that. It's just who's going to buy this stuff? Let's be honest. Who's going to buy this stuff? So yeah, you know, ETH, I don't know. There's no trade here. There's nothing. There's nothing going on. This could even morph into some sort of head and shoulders mess and get even more bearish, but we're not there yet. It just doesn't look good. Doesn't look tradable. I don't know, even on low time frames, I guess it's been so choppy and unexciting. I just don't think there's anything. I don't think there's anything to do with ETH. So Marcus, what's your favorite non-pornographic magazine? What kind of question is that? Anyway, nothing to do with ETH. People keep talking about Monero. I feel bad for these people because the tech is great. The coin's going nowhere. I'm sorry. Monero will only get delisted from exchanges. It will not get listed. It will not get connected to inflows. The chart looks okay. It looks like dead money for the past 6 months. This is not the chart you should even be looking at. You need to be looking at XMR BTC. And that thing, my friends, I guess you're hoping for a bounce here. If you're just being honest about the technicals, then hold on, let's take this. Let's try to get a bigger picture. If you're just being honest about the technicals, I guess you can say that there's a TKC clamp here. It is mega oversold. It is at a multi-year low. I just think anything against BTC is running out of time. As long as the grayscale selling slows down, Bitcoin wins. So by betting on Monero or any other alt, you're betting on continued death for Bitcoin. I don't think that's a good bet. From a level perspective, again, like technicals look okay. I'll give you that. I wouldn't pay attention to the USD chart. It's still not bullish, to be clear. It is just super oversold. So like, what do you do with this? Do you buy and hold this and hope that inflows into BTC are not great and Monero has more inflows? Because that's fantasy land. That's not going to happen. I think that this thing just ranges in perpetuity and trends lower. It doesn't have a chance. Sorry, guys. It just doesn't have a chance. That's all there is to it, really. And I like Monero. Love it. But it doesn't look great for the long-term prospects based on access. Yeah, some of the DeFi coins have been looking okay, but again, they're kind of just at the whim of the broader market. They will do better than the higher cap stuff in a bull market, but they are more risky. It's like the miners, you know, we can talk about the miners. Let's just pull up Mara. This thing got just slapped around. What a crazy chart. Crazy, crazy chart. Coin, the same. You know, this thing got absolutely slapped around. I like coin sub 110. So it's getting there. Not even really based on the cloud or anything. Just, I think it looks super mega turbo oversold. And I think the earnings in February are going to be super bullish based on all the volume they've seen. So at some point it makes sense to start buying coin again. I don't think that's here. As far as the other alts, you know, we can go down the list. Like I said with Solana, this isn't exactly screaming long to me, right? Because again, it's at the tail end of its 3-month trend or whatever this was, right? So everything needs to take a breather, and you're going to have people who are getting bored and just selling and moving on. You're getting people who eventually get in because they missed the whole rally since October. So let this sell off, probably goes through the cloud to at least 72, and then we'll see what happens. Not bearish, but it's definitely not as bullish as it was, right? And I think I kind of drew a falling wedge. This would be the ideal situation for Solana, because then you've got the RSI curling down, right? You've got the chart pattern. You've probably got volume on your side here, which you do. Volume coming down, RSI coming down. Price goes to 72 on the cloud. I mean, this is a perfect setup for a bounce at 72 or thereabouts. So again, I think you just have to be patient. Does buying at 72 make sense? Maybe. It depends how low the RSI gets. Depends how we look on the wedge. To me, trading this makes way more sense than trading ETH, just based on how this has moved, right? That's just it. That's where people are doing their business. That's this cycle's ETH. Sorry, ETH. Until ETH becomes ETH again, make ETH again. How about that? How about that for a hat? Until that happens, there's just better stuff to trade. That's it. That's all there is. Am I a bonk believer? I wouldn't say I'm a believer, no. Definitely not a believer. So that's Solana, you know, and it's also awkwardly in the weekly cloud. Just kind of in the middle here, just you know, this isn't really a trade setup type environment here. There's nothing screaming at you. I don't even know where you'd want this to go in the weekly cloud. I said 32 and people really got the pitchforks out. But 32 is the yearly pivot. So if 72 fails and we start to look ugly for whatever reason, 32 would be the next stop. People would be very upset. All of a sudden, let's go to Filecoin. Why not? I'm a Filecoin guy. I did it to myself. I said I owned Filecoin. The thing about me and alts that you got to realize, I will hold this till 2025 and never think about it. If nobody brought it up, I would have never even remembered, okay? I buy this stuff because it looks remotely good. The upside is crazy. I've even got Josh's spot to sell up here. The only time to change the position here would be, in my opinion, to sell at all-time lows or to add when we're in the cloud. That's it. There's nothing to do. This is an extremely long-term trade. Extremely long-term, okay? So if you're not one of those people, just ignore what everything I say about it. It's irrelevant to you. If you're one of these people who needs to get in a trade every week and is in and out of stuff, this is not for you, okay? This will take some time. You're going to eat some pain here. Depending on how this looks into 2020, I guess mid-2024. Because here's my assumption. Again, alts do best post-Bitcoin halving. Alts do best when rates come down. That's when Filecoin should do good. Do good and stuff and things. So when that happens, all the alts should look good. I think this setup is one of the best. But we'll see what happens. I don't know. I mean, hell, Doge doesn't look bad either, right? We can look at Doge. Doge looks fine. If you want something to go up, you want 2 years of nothing. That's another reason why I like ETC, right? It's down only for 3 years. Something might happen. I don't know. That's about as far as my conviction on alts goes. But you just got to be patient. At least for me, I don't care about anything in the near term. Nothing should do well. You know, we can also compare this to ARK, which is Kathy's ETF. This thing just turbo ranging, right? Also in the weekly cloud. If rates come down, sadly, this thing should also do well. You know, we can go to IWM, the small businesses, Russell 2000. If rates come down, IWM should do well because there's less pressure on the companies in IWM for financing needs. The cloud is also signaling that, yeah, this is going to flip bullish, and by May, June, it should be out of the weekly cloud. It also has this multi-year, sideways, nothing going on with it. So yeah, I like IWM to retest the highs. Why not? If rates come down, sure. It's the same thing with Hood. So really, it's not about Filecoin. I don't really care about Filecoin. It's about the chart, right? This is Robinhood. Maybe we have a recession, maybe we don't. We just had a GDP print that was 3.3. So I don't think we're headed for a recession. But this chart looks phenomenal too. 2 years of sideways. Looks great. I like this just as much as I like Filecoin. Sure, Tortuga. So it's 2060. By the way, I started. So that's crypto 2061, 2030. And then legacy is 1852, 104, 26. Those are just adjusted based on 24-hour trading or just doubling the default. I started to make designs for merch. One of my ideas was to put the crypto settings and legacy settings on a mug. I think that'd be a cool idea, but you guys tell me. People keep asking me for merch. I don't know. Why would you want anything with my name on it? I don't want my name on anything. So yeah, I'm still holding Filecoin. I think you could hold Hood. Hood could be an easy multi-month trade for that exact reason, right? I just like the chart. if we get stimulus, if we don't have a recession, if they print money, Hood should do very well if you want some fundamental backing on that. But the chart looks decently okay. You know, I also like Square. Talked about this a few times for the same reasons. If rates come down, Square should do well. I saw Doppel was posting about Disney. Not a massive fan of the company. Chart looks okay. Doesn't look great. But it looks okay. So if we don't have a recession and rates come down, yeah, I think all this stuff has a shot. Even Disney, like look, this is like ETC, you know, it's the same type of chart, which has kind of just been down only. Anyway, so yeah, I'm not bearish in the long term at all. MSTR, there's been a lot of talk about this. I think it will continue to do well. I just don't know how well. And why would you want that risk? Just buy the ETFs. Buy IBIT. Like, why? Why are you messing around with MSTR? I don't get why people would bother. I don't know. I kind of feel the same way with the miners. Like the miners are going to do well, they're going to explode, but I don't think you can go all in on the miners. I think you're going to run into some issues with volatility on some of these. Interesting, CleanSpark hit the edge to edge perfectly, huh? Crazy. I think you're going to run into issues with volatility for just random reasons. But yeah, I like some exposure to miners. Why not? All right, where was I before I derailed myself? Alts. We can talk about other stuff. Most everything is just kind of, right, it's just not, there's just nothing going on. I don't think anything looks great right now. INJ had this double top. ARB also setting up for a head and shoulders. OP double top. Rune had a head and shoulders that it broke down from finally below the daily cloud. So all this stuff, what I said in the video Wednesday, is just set alerts for a bullish breakout. You know, you can right click the top of the cloud, add an alert. Let me add an alert to the right cloud here. Hold on. Add alert. Crossing. I want Rune crossing the Ichimoku. I think it's lead one, right? You just do that and be done with it. That was the head and shoulders. It's playing out. There's also, you know, clearly a channel and or wedge and or whatever down there. So yeah, I like lower on virtually everything, but it doesn't have to go lower. No, I didn't look at dominance yet. Let me jump around to Dixie real quick. Dixie continues to draw this inverted head and shoulders type fractal, which is also a headwind for us on the crypto side, which is fine. I don't think Dixie does anything meaningful until they drop rates, which probably won't be until May. So, you know, just keep that in mind. It's just ranging for now. But when we're certain about rates coming down, then Dixie goes lower. But I don't think there's much of a signal here on this. Ultimately, we want Dixie below 100 to 90. That's when we've done best in Bitcoin land, and I think we're going to see that with this cycle. This cycle's shaping up to be just like every other cycle. DXY weakness, halving, liquidity, injections. It all looks good. Bearish cross there on, that's the wrong cloud. Just a lot of bearishness on the weekly for DXY. Anyway, so I think this goes lower. It's a mess, but I think it eventually goes lower. BTCD. Again, like, oddly, right? Dominance does worse after halving. It's always funny how that works. But it looks great from a technical. If you don't know what this chart is, and it's through the weekly cloud like this should lead to bullish continuation. Yes, it might retrace to the mean reversion target or whatever, but this should be continued strength for Bitcoin. We only really have one halving to really compare this to, but you could argue in 2020 we saw continued strength until halving. And again, the alts do best after halving. Write that down, put it on a sticky note behind you, on your monitor. Alts do best after halving. All the more reason to just take it slow on any of the alt stuff here. Me too, Philip. I'm a card-carrying Filecoin member whose position will only continue to grow throughout the year, coin-wise, most likely, if there's no regulatory stuff. So yeah, dominance looks fine. I don't think there's anything. Thank you, Mustafa. There we go. Somebody's on our side here. Alts do best after halving. Exactly. So you got to give that stuff time. Can I please talk about WGMI? Yes. WGMI, along with all the other miners, has gotten goodwill slaughtered, hasn't it? So I took this trade at 10. I held it till 15, 16, I think. Don't remember the exact day I let it go. It was after the ETFs got approved. Based on the history of the miners, right? They love to just go buck wild or sell off to zero. So I do think you have to be, I don't think they can be a buy and hold just for that reason. I think you have to take profit with this stuff at logical levels when they hit targets or whatever, right? When they look overbought or whatever's going on. Right now, this is definitely not a buy for WGMI. You know, the reason I bought at 10 was because of that edge to edge. There's nothing, there's no signal here. The next signal will be something like this, where we'll get a bullish move through the cloud. But again, that's not going to happen until April, probably. You know, it's going to take some time. So it does not look pretty in the near term. Now, I think what everybody's hoping for is some sort of inverted head and shoulders. I don't even know. The chart's just, it's such a mess. It's hard to even honestly say, like, this is anything. I don't even know. I just keep looking at it. I guess this will be the next. You know, maybe there's some sort of channel down here that has a logical. I don't know, it's a stretch, but maybe you're watching like the bottom of this channel to see what happens if there's a reaction, and you're just range trading this from, like, I don't know, 10 again, 9, 10-ish to 25-ish, right? We'll be generous. We'll give it till the end of the year. I think that's probably the next trade. The problem with the upside is that if Bitcoin does really well, you know, WGMI is going to go to like 50, right? So we're just not there yet. It's just going to take some time. Definitely going to take some time. What else we got? Got anything else important? Crypto Jack, he's his own community member. He's a White Cough community member is what he is. Jack, you got any? Does anybody have anything that looks good? I feel like I'm just like Debbie Downer over here. This looks like crap. This looks like crap. I mean, we can talk about, let's talk about Tesla for a second because I think it's hilarious. People trade Tesla like we trade Bitcoin. They are, they are just blind believers in anything Papa Elon does. This chart looks so hideous. Can I just tell you how hideous this chart looks? Look at this weekly chart. Failed weekly breakout. Arguably diamond top here. This thing looks abysmal. It had a shot. It legitimately had a shot at going higher. Now all I can see, if we go back to the daily, all I see is this, right? In the near term. I don't even know where you want to draw that. I don't even know where you want to draw those either, but none of this looks good for Tesla. None of it. Okay. And if you go back to the weekly and you say, you know, diamond top, and this thing falls out of the diamond, you know, this isn't a legitimate target, but it measures the zero, right? Like it's just there's no bullishness here on the weekly. I guess you say it's even below the 50%. I don't even know, right? Like this could really dig. That is ugly. That is just so ugly. The thing was, I was bearish on this before the earnings. It only got worse after. It's just there's better things to trade, people. You don't need to load up on Tesla. Not that anybody loading up on Tesla is going to listen to me, but you know, look, you don't want things falling below the weekly cloud. Let's start there, right? Does not look good. Does not look good here. $10 is a fair price. I don't know about 10, but I think it's going to get angry. I think it's definitely going to get angry. But like the S&P looks great, right? Cup and handle in full effect here. All-time highs, baby. That looks good. NASDAQ looks great. No issues there. Semiconductors look great. SMH, new all-time high. And then some. A little bit parabolic. Looks okay. Meta, Google, Netflix, like they all look good. They're not Tesla. They all look really good. These look great. What else haven't we talked about? Oil, gold. I think gold is just a never touch ever for any reason. Just, you know, there's just nothing to do. All right, this is the time in the show where we talk about your favorite Rug My Bitcoin. Anything you got, just throw it in the chat. We'll talk about it. As some people already have. Pond. Again, like I just don't know why people trade some of this stuff. It looks fine, right? I'm not disappointed that it looks good. Maybe even a cup and handle, right? Looks decent. Dusk I talked about yesterday. That looks good too. So there are a few out there that look okay. You know, you got a double bottom. Got a breakout on the cloud. It doesn't look horrible, right? You've got a edge to edge you're working on with Dusk. as I'm in the wrong cloud settings. Still, even on the crypto settings, it looks good. So yeah, there's I'm a little bit of a doomer, but there are some alts you can trade for sure. Here it comes. It's coming fast and furious now. Here we go. everybody's favorite alts that they're trading. I don't know why the chat is so laggy today. FXS I talked about yesterday on the video too. It looks good. It looks fine. Looks good. You know, if you have to trade something, I would rather trade stuff that looks like this over pretty much anything else right now. Ape. Oh, oof. Which was this the NFT airdrop? I can't remember. Real bad. Here's a pro tip. Anything that goes straight down, not something you want. not something you want to hold. You really want to hold stuff that goes up and to the right, not down and to the right. Sorry. Yeah. I wouldn't touch this until it's back into the weekly cloud. Until then, I would just ignore it. Sorry, I'm trying to get chat to scroll up. It's just not. There we go. Some of these others left. I don't even know what is this. Is this a real? Is this real? That's a chart. Is this an AI thing? What is this? Show yourself, a left holder. I don't know what you do with this up here. I mean, I don't think you add to a position at all-time highs necessarily. I just don't know. I don't know what it is. It looks fine. I don't know. What would anybody say to that? I have no idea. It looks good. I don't know why it is where it's at. Blur. This one pulled up quite a bit, huh? It's not down and to the right. You know, this is like back to the ape chart. You want ape right there. So set an alert on the cloud for ape at the bottom of the cloud. It looks okay. It looks ranging. You know, it's not angry, not selling off. This probably morphs into some sort of cup and handle. But this could have continuation left in it. Doesn't look horrible. Definitely. I don't think I'd trade it here. I would prefer it at highs. You know, like we'll call it like 666. That's where my bids would be. What is that? A stop entry or something? At 666. ICP. Yeah, ICP kind of like Filecoin. It could have a run. You don't know. Looks okay. It's definitely pulled up quite a bit from the bottom. I just think you hold on. I don't know. Like, look, again, say it with me. Alts do better after having. Kind of a miracle that some of this stuff has pulled up as much as it has. But yeah, why not? Why not more? Over time, it's gonna take a bunch of time for the bullishness to filter through to alts post halving. But I'd rather hold this than ape. I can tell you that much. Bonk I talked about. I think the bonk train is over. I think there are going to be people guaranteed who will get destroyed trading this thing. They're trading the last run. As we sit here in the moment, this is not bullish. I expect this to break down eventually. But definitely not something I would sit in up here, right? Okay, so this is up almost 13,000% from the lows. Just trade something else. Anything else that isn't up 13,000% from the lows. I think it's going to take a while for this thing to continue trading higher. And if it trades higher, it probably does so based on manipulation. It probably doesn't do it on its own. Not that that matters for people who are on the long side, but yeah, I think it's going to need some time to relax. Scale. See, everybody, I'm all doom and gloom on alts, and here we go. Chat, just alpha leaks out of chat. You come in here, sit here patiently waiting for me to talk about your coin, and these charts look great, right? Like, we're in the weekly cloud. There's a W double bottom. Yeah, like, look, it's a hold for sure. Looks better than my crappy Filecoin play, right? Like, I would like this more as an entry, like down here. But huge potential upside. Some of these edge-to-edge trades are going to run into fully diluted value issues with market cap and whatnot, but I wouldn't scare that. I wouldn't let that scare you from trading the chart. Anyway, chart looks good. Chart looks good. Just got to be patient. TIA, I want bonk to go to 0. TIA, I also want to go to 0, just so people like pay attention to something else that's not a VC coin that's bought at pennies on the dollar and hyped up by VCs promising, a palace and 40 wives or whatever they're promising. Neutral, I have no idea. Doesn't look super bullish. Needs some time. Probably does well with all the other alts after having. Not something I would touch here. Say. That's right? Another coin that's up. What percentage is it up? Almost 800%. I just think there's better stuff to trade, right? We just went through like 4 or 5 charts that are coming off of previous cycle lows. To me, those probably have a better chance than something like this. This looks like it wants to relax, break down a little bit. Whatever the 50%, so it's 54 cents. You kind of have to take this off log sometimes to just like see. It doesn't look strong, I'll give you that. It's what percentage is it down from? It's down 30% from the highs. For me, I would rather take profit, forget about it forever, and just trade something else, right? Like next alt, this one's done. We've squeezed all we could out of it. But I talked about Mara, just the bucking bronco. Twilio. Right here again with chat with the alpha. Ro Jogan. Coming in here, just hey, by the way, look at this great chart. Just look at this great, this is legacy, so I'll switch to legacy cloud. Look at this fantastic chart, right? This chart looks so good. This is a fintech, not fintech, what is this, like communication company? I think it does best after rates come down, but it's already there based on technicals. Looks great. Looks really good, right? In the weekly cloud, has some 2x plus target. Love it. Love it. Net. I don't know what net is. Is that a Cloudflare? Yeah, another one that looks really good, right? I would argue some sort of ascending triangle. Looks great. Looks really good. Certainly better than Bitcoin. I'll give you that. Flare USD. Kind of like, what was that other one we just looked at? You know, it's got the cup and handle characteristic to it. It's fine. Doesn't look bearish, but needs to relax a little bit, for sure. Stacks. Stacks looks, some old notes. Looks fine. You know, again, anything that hit its edge-to-edge target, it's just a waiting game at this point. The mean reversion trade is over, so the next step is continuation or reversal as far as the bullishness here. You just need to give it time. Looks fine though, right? Looks great. We can even like redraw the inverted head and shoulders. Maybe you get another like pseudo shoulder into the neckline or something. But I think it looks fine. You just got to give it time. Got to give it time. I gotta find, where the heck is chat? Oh, WorldCoin. No one don't know. Okay, LF is AI. That's why it's doing so well. Don't ask me about WorldCoin. Why is chat so laggy today? I don't know what's going on there. All right, there we go. Ordi. Oh man, this is another one. Why? There are so many other things you can be trading. You know, look, I know you're asking for my opinion, but I'm asking you to look deep down inside your soul. Does it look bullish or bearish or neutral? I would argue extremely bearish. And then the next question is, where does this go? Let's just take range high, range low. I think logically it goes back down to the 20s, low 20s. And this is another one. I just hope it goes to zero. It's an alt with no use case. Just does no purpose. AOIZ. Uh-oh. It's on rugmybit.com. A little mini inverted head and shoulders down here. I don't know. It looks okay. Doesn't look crazy good or bad. Just kind of meh. Render, I think I looked at... Did I look at that for the video? I can't remember. Kind of like everything else where it's got, you know, head and shoulder type vibes to it. It's resetting on the cloud, bearish TK cross through the cloud. Just needs time. The next test is going to be the bottom of the cloud and whether or not it completes the chart pattern lower. So neutral on that one. Yeah, neutral. Curve, again, there's just so much better. I'm judging people as they're giving me, you know, they're asking me to look at something. They're not expecting to be judged, but I'm judging you, Gabriel. There's just better stuff to trade. I just don't think, you know, like Ape, the best time to get into this is going to be, let's just set an alert, is going to be in the bottom of the cloud. Curve crossing, it's what, lead one, right? So yeah, maybe you take the range trade at the lows, but I don't think there's anything to do here. It just looks real nasty. Not great. Not great. Unibot. This one, I thought this one looked okay. I forget who was posting about this. I mean, the daily clouds, whatever. It's, you know, taking a minute. It does kind of have, you know, maybe cup and handle. I don't know. If this breaks out on a cup and handle, which is a stretch, it probably revisits those highs, but it's needs a lot of time. Give it another 2 months. Come back to me. ROL. Rims of Legend. Is this really a chart? Come on. That's a prank, right? All right, he said RPL. RPL, Rocket Pool. That one I know. Is there a better chart for this? Not really. This is like Lido, right? So if ETH ever does anything ETH related should do well. This does not look like a happy chart. Neutral at best. Does not look happy. How will these TradFi stocks look when Treasury RRP stops QT slowly ramping up? Yeah, so I think they're going to ramp QT down. We've been in soft QE with a reverse repo. I think they're going to be forced to bring QE back. I don't think they're going to call it QE, but that's what it's going to be. Reverse repo, I'm just trying to find the chart. I think it's here. Today, reverse repo had a big bite taken out of it. It was like 82 million or something. It's the white line here on the inverse. So as long as we have reverse repo to drain, we're partying. But the moment reverse repo ends, the moment BTFP ends, they're going to have to do something if they don't want things to start collapsing. My guess is they will do something. But yeah, no, that is a good question. If they don't do anything, that's probably the top for everything. It's probably the top for S&P and the Qs. Bonds go higher. I think it just gets ugly if they don't do something. Oh, he didn't mean ape the coin. He meant it is time to ape. I don't know about that. Does TradingView need Uniswap feeds, Bruce? I don't think they need that. Come on. There's better stuff. I don't know the messy tokens ticker, but if you do, shout it out. Okay, here we go. We're looking at WorldCoin. We'll look at WorldCoin. Thank God it's bearish. Thank God I can be honest. This is kind of how I expect ETH to play out, if I'm going to be honest. ETH USD is like right here. This looks not happy. So it does look bearish. It does not look bullish. Where does this go is the question, right? I don't even know. Not a lot of trading history here. I mean, maybe you just watch the channel and see when the channel breaks. I would not touch this ever for any reason. I would not trade it. TIA I talked about, it's just sideways in a channel. The channel probably breaks down. AKT. I got something on here. AKT. Well, it hit its cup and handle target. And now it is doing something, consolidating, I guess. doesn't necessarily look like bullish continuation. Maybe something like that. If I was sitting in this since 30 cents or something, I think now is a great time to take some off the table. Yeah, it's not bearish. It's just, it's up a lot, right? Was up over 1,400% from the lows. Yeah, definitely not holding any whiff or touching any of that nonsense. Something else that needs to go to zero. Oil has this very large head and shoulder-esque pattern to it still. I know everyone's like turbo bullish energy because they think the world's going to explode, but I am not that bullish on oil. I think it's just going to kind of oscillate between 70 and 80. Yeah, Silk Road selling 130 million. What else we got? Wife changing money. Chat has exploded on me. Chat has absolutely exploded. I need to put my money in something right now. I can't sit on dry powder. Maybe you should go do something else, Terrible Puddle. Sia Coin, I mean, Sia Coin's a great example of why you don't trade this stuff most of the time, or why you trade this stuff with smaller sizes and you take profit sooner. To be fair to this chart, it did hit its target. I know that's a mess here. There was some sort of triangle we drew. It hit the measured move. What more do you want, right? I don't know. I wouldn't touch it here, right? The time to trade this was at 004. So I wouldn't think about touching it here. GRT, I think that one looked okay. Yeah, looks okay. There's some of these that are going to have some variation of a triple bottom or an ascending triangle or an ascending channel, right? They just need time. It's in the weekly cloud. Ish. It looks okay. Doesn't look terrible. Just needs time. Lots of time. All right, any last things here? Chat's kind of, I don't know why it's so laggy for me today, but I'm having a hard time following. BRC20 is going to be decent. That's fine. Look, trade your NFTs on Bitcoin. I don't care. But the ORDI token, from what I know, it doesn't do anything with ordinals, right? It's just ordinals in name only. Yeah, I think ORDI is going to retrace a lot. All right, I think that's it. I'll do one last UMA. That's an old. I remember that one from last cycle, right? There's a chart. We'll end on a happy note, right? There's a lot of this with alts. AVAX is one that comes to mind, right? At this point, the move has happened, so I wouldn't do anything here, but it's the exact reason why you pay attention to charts that look like this, or charts that have been sideways for 2 years, right? That's where things tend to happen for whatever reason. So it's in the weekly cloud. The move is over. I wouldn't touch this, but yeah, it looks good, right? I mean, what do you do here is the question. Do you take profit on this on a weekly candle that was up 200% in a week? Probably. You probably take profit on that. Yeah, I talked about curve. It's junk, guys. It's not something you touch. I set an alert at the bottom of the cloud, and that's all you need to do. There's nothing to do here. This likely holds lows or stays at lows or goes lower. It does not want up. It just doesn't. Garbage. I'm judging both of you. I'm judging all of you. It's like Monero, right? I love the coin. The protocol works. I love the Curve protocol. You don't have to buy the coin, though. You can use Curve. You can do convex crap, whatever. But this is not a good-looking chart at all. This is not a good-looking chart. All right, last two. We'll do this because I just hope I can be bearish on it. I wouldn't trade meme coins when the rest of the market isn't really doing well. There's probably somebody who's pumping and dumping this. I don't know. Like, look, it looks okay. I don't know what else to say. Looks okay. I wouldn't touch it for 1,000,000 years and $1 million. How about that? All right, Zoom, last one. Zoom on the weekly. Kind of looks like PayPal on the weekly. Right? It had that pandemic. Everybody was using Zoom, blah, 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 pandemic trade. And now it's just been down only for like 3-4 years. I kind of don't hate it. It kind of looks okay. You know, the question is like, what is your size down here? What is your confidence level down here? You almost don't want to, I don't know. It's like the Filecoin setup, right? This looks so bad and has looked so bad for so long. Either the company's dead, it's going to get acquired, or they're going to do something with AI or something, right? From a technical perspective, if this thing pops into the cloud, like, yeah, that looks good. Again, like at the very least, set an alert for this stuff. That's what I'm doing. Zoom crossing legacy cloud. Right. I hope I'm setting the right alerts. Yeah, lead one. If this goes into the cloud, yeah. It has done nothing for a very long time. It has retraced back to its pre-pandemic lows. I don't hate it as a watch play, a watch list play. The last thing I'll look at is PayPal because that is another one that looks similar. Both of these companies I don't think do too hot until rates come down. But that's also one that it's getting there. I don't know if this company survives, but it's getting there to the point where it's closer to being worth taking a stab at. So I think it's going to take some time on these, but they look interesting. They look very interesting. Yeah, Dirk, I talked about the miners. I think you have to take profit on those regularly because they will just, like they've retraced everything, right? So I think you just have to have very specific near-term trade setups and targets for miners. Until Bitcoin takes off, I think miners as a buy and hold is kind of silly. Just because they're so volatile. Now, if you want to buy and hold something like coin or the miners, I don't think there's a problem with that. You just have to keep in mind, like, you know, this could get very bumpy until Bitcoin takes off. That's all. All right, guys, that's all I got in me. Thanks for stopping by. Give me a like. Give me a whatever. Give me a high five. I'll talk to you guys probably Sunday, maybe Friday if we do a podcast with Ledger. I don't know. That's all I got for this one. Share, subscribe, like all that good stuff. Take care. See you later.